Rakim Shalom Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth. Salutations to the sincere Akim and Aquath that may listen. May the blessing of election be upon your house. My name is Brother Raquai. I'm back in here with another quick and as Lord's will, as always, an edifying lesson. And today's lesson is going to be titled The Great Wrath and Joseph Tribulation. And really and truly what inspired this lesson real quick was this bill that I'm kind of responding to, right? And as a matter of fact, let me just pull it up. This bill 367. The summary, it says, this enactment amends the criminal code to eliminate as a defense against willful promotion and hatred of anti-Sem, the fact that a person in good faith expressed or attempted to establish by an argument an opinion of religious subject and opinion based on a belief and religious text, really. So they're really coming down on people who are reading the scriptures, right? And brothers made a response in regards to this particular article, but I kind of wanted to take it a little bit of a different direction. So as always, Yahweh Ratazah, this would be an edifying lesson, right? So what I want to do first, I'm just going to go into a quick story, and hopefully, as always, this would all piece together. And let's just go to the scriptures first and go from there, right? So it's essentially trying to amend people who are, reading out of the Bible. And it's always interesting. It's always the Bible, never any other quote unquote so-called other holy texts like a Quran or any other like religion or something of that sort, right? So anyways, let me just get to the scriptures. So here it says Isaiah 55:6, and it says, seek ye the Lord Yahweh while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man forsake his thoughts. Let him return unto the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and he will have mercy upon him. All right, and that's exactly what we want, during these times, because this is one of these crafty devices that Esau is putting out. That is, he's trying to, persecute, the prophets that are actually speaking Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's word, and because pursuant to Amos chapter 8, there's going to be a time where they're no longer going to be on the we're not always going to be on the streets, always teaching forever, right? And verse 7, it says, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man forsake his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, right? Because the name of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is a strong tower, right? And that's where we can seek refuge, through his son Yahweh Shai. And our people don't really understand that, and our people don't really value that, because a lot of our people are too caught up, like we were going into camp recently at last weekend, how a bunch of our people are so caught up in trying to stock up physical riches, right, as opposed to stocking up spiritual riches. And earlier last week I made a lesson in regards to one of Tobit's relatives, who gave alms abundantly, and then when he was in a situation with a tribulation, I think his name was Ahikar, if I'm not mistaken, it's in Tobit chapter 14, if you want to reference, he was able to escape from that, right? So, these are the things what we can use, our grace period for, in these times, in hopes that we can receive, that mercy, right? Let me go up a bit as well. So up above, it also says, because I was just talking about how the prophets, our elders and prophets, apostles, elders and prophets on down are trying to preach this word and preach repentance, so our people can clean themselves up, and hopefully, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai would have mercy upon our people. But only 1/3 of our people would actually, do that. So it says, Isaiah 55 verse 1, it says, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and ye that hath no money, come ye and buy and eat. Yea, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Wherefore do ye spend money for that which is not bread?" So, our people spend a lot of time into different so-called denominations that actually don't feed them, with the understanding that they need to remain stable during these times, with an understanding of who they are as a people during these times, understanding of their forefathers and the things that their forefathers did during these times. And that's one of the things I want to get into later on in this lesson. "And your labor which satisfieth not, hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, that your soul delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear, and come unto me, and your soul shall live." Right? Because, we're in a spiritual wilderness. That's what Babylon the Great, with all these different, different philosophies, that are roaming about, like Rastafarianism and Christianity and Buddhism and so on and so forth. These things don't satiate your soul, speaking to you Israelites as a whole. These things don't satiate your soul, because they don't actually give you an understanding of who you are and your identity. Where was I? "I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David." And that's one of the clear things that we want. That is one of the things we want, during these times, is mercy, and let's get Romans. Okay, this is Romans chapter 15 verse 4, and it says, "For whatsoever things that were written before time were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures we might have hope." Right? And even though when we go through some of these tribulations, and even if some of us actually have to go into quote unquote prison, for an example, or concentration camps, for example, because that's one of the things they really want to come down on, because Esau is essentially, his horns are starting to really perk up and show, right? What I want to do is bring on an example of one of our forefathers who actually was in prison, right? And to actually bring and give us that comfort, if that, be our lots, right? So let's go to, just bear with me on this, because Yahushua said that man should not live by bread alone, right? And not just, and our people don't seem to understand that. Our people don't seem to actually have that understanding that this this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, it keeps you stable, especially when you're going through suffering and tribulation and so on and so forth, right? I think there was a chapter in Acts, especially when Paul got arrested, and then him and Silas, I think they were in prison, and they were essentially they were cheerful, right? So something, things to keep in mind, right? This is, just bear with me on this. So I'm just going to read a couple precepts, and the point really is in 21. So this is Genesis chapter 39, verse 11. And it says, "One day, however," I'm going to read it in the NLT. So it says, "One day, however, no one else was around when he went in to do his work. She came and grabbed him and his cloak, demanding, "Come on, sleep with me." Joseph tore himself away, but he left his cloak in her hand as he ran from the house, right? So, essentially what's going on, just to paint a picture, Joseph's wife, Salakia, not Joseph's wife, the Pharaoh's wife, essentially, she hit on Joseph, he saw he saw her, she saw him, excuse me, and essentially she was trying to make a move on him, right? And when she saw that she was holding his cloak and he had fled, she called out to her servants. Soon the men came running. "Look," she said, "my husband has brought this Hebrew slave here to make fools of us. He came into the room to rape me, but I screamed. And when he heard me scream, he ran outside and got away, but he left his cloak behind with me." She kept the cloak with her until her husband came home. Verse 17. Then she told him her story. "That Hebrew slave you brought into the house tried to come in and fool around with me," she said. So essentially she's creating a false accusation on Joseph, right? Kind of like, and you can equate that to you can equate that to us in this time, because they're going to find some kind of false accusation with us, and we're quote unquote domestic terrorists or something like that, and come up with some kind of BS reason to try and justify trying to cast us into prison or something like that, right? Verse 18, and it says, "But when I screamed, he ran outside, leaving his cloak with me." Okay, so the title, it says Joseph put into prison. It says Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about Joseph and how Joseph had treated her. Verse 20, "So he took Joseph and threw him into prison where the king's prisoners were held, and there he remained." Verse 21, and this is the point I really wanted to get, because this is the really part that's really comforting, and I want, something I was just reflecting on yesterday, if that so does happen to, myself or, any of us brothers, right? Here it says, "But the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai was with Joseph in the prison and showed him faithful love. And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden." In the KJV it says, "But the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison," right? So, it's always, even though sometimes, we go through some things, like it's so like comforting to remember that, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is kind of like, think of it as kind of like a, what you would call it? Like you're in a boxing match, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is kind of like, not in the ring with you, but they're behind like the ropes, essentially, trying to help you to, kind of get back up and, kind of navigate through this. And, and it's so funny too, like, I don't know how you call those people, but essentially they actually help feed the boxer with the water, right? And water, it's also spiritual, because that's what actually cleanses us. We're clean through the word, right? That's the real baptism, right? And hopefully that all adds up and makes sense. But yeah, that's really, really the story I really just wanted to touch on really quickly. Sometimes, like the scriptures, as a matter of fact, oh no, it's not here, it's in the Apocrypha. sometimes we do get those moments where we get a little bit like, I don't want to say timid, but a little nervous. But it's always good to get into these stories to kind of help remember the generations and the things that Yahweh Bashim Yahshai did for our forefathers, right? Wisdom of Solomon 9:15, and it says, "For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind, that museth upon many things." Right? So, this earthly tabernacle is something that kind of holds us back, but, we always have to, recall the generations of old, and, it's always good to refresh our minds with the stories and remember the things that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai did for our forefathers, right? And even did for us in our personal walks. So anyways, I'll just cut the lesson off here, but Yahweh Ratazah, this actually all adds up and makes sense. Hopefully this brings some kind of level of comfort throughout these times, but anyways, I'll close it off here, and I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Bakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.